there, this is the Sunday school lesson for the elementary and the pre-K groups for this Sunday, September 29th. Sunday school's at 10 o'clock. Elementary meets in the purple classroom in the fellowship building, and of course the pre-K will meet in the children's room in the sanctuary building. So they're both using the same lesson this week. This is from the Joyful Path curriculum, so we've used this now for a little while. Sometimes I use it just in pre-K, sometimes I use it just in elementary. It depends on what level I think the activities are good for, what age level. There's some in here that I think apply well to both, and I think the message is really good for both, so we're going to do it in both classes this Sunday. So it's called Affirmation, The Whole World is Home, and We Are Divine Family. For the title of it, I usually go to the inside, and it says, Connecting with Kindness, right? That's kind of the subheading of this lesson, and that's what I've kind of referred to it as. So the first page, in case you're not familiar with this particular lesson, the first page is kind of for the teachers and walks you through questions for you to consider. There are two Bible verses usually that are associated with the lesson. So in this case, it's Matthew 5, verses 44 through 48, and Galatians 3, verses 26 through 28. They are reprinted right here, so you don't have to have the Bible in front of you. I think it's a good idea just so kids get to know where in the Bible Matthew and Galatians are, etc. So unlike using the Shine Bible as we do in elementary, this has verses called out here. So, but definitely read those to them. Then there's a separate story, and I printed the story. It'll be attached in this lesson that I send you, but I've also printed it out separately so that when you read it to the children, you have a page that just has the story on it. So this story is called The Good Samaritan, and it will be illustrative of the point that they're trying to make. There are some great discussion questions at the end. So these discussion questions include things like, do you think the priest or the scholar felt any connection with the injured merchant? What do you think divine family means? These questions I think are are more appropriate for the elementary class than the pre-K class. On the pre-K class level, I would ask them very simple and important things like, what did you think of the story? What was your favorite part of the story? What part of the story did you not understand? Something like that will enhance the discussion of the story and let them have. So that's how to approach the story, and I would do this usually first after talking about the theme and the Bible verses, and you can go into the story. If you want to do it after the activities, that's fine too. It's totally up to you. We're going to do different activities, but for the pre-K group, there's an activity. It's called the Connection Craft activity right here. And connected dolls, so all have a stencil that they can trace on folded paper. They can cut it themselves, or you can help them cut it. I'm hoping that it's something that they can do part of it themselves and then might need help with the other part. So maybe the holding and tracing they can do, or maybe the folding of the paper, so that they're involved in the creation of this. And then it won't be a super long string, although you could certainly tape multiple ones together, but it'll probably be like 2 or 3 that come together, and then we can color them and decorate them as they wish. So that's for the pre-K. For the elementary group, there's a Try Kindness activity. So there will be 3.5, like some index cards there that have different examples of scenarios, and we want the kids to talk about how would you respond with kindness to that scenario. We can also do this for the pre-K group, but I can put a couple of index cards in there, and if you feel like that's something that they might be receptive to, great. But I had it in mind more for the elementary class. So the examples they give are a shopper in a grocery store is agitated and impatient in the checkout lane. How can you respond with kindness? Or someone pushes you out of the way while rushing down the hall at school. How would you respond with kindness? So it asks them how they might, what they might do in that situation, even if what they choose to do is nothing, like I'm just going to ignore it and let that person, move on. And how is that kindness, right? Then an additional activity as part of that is acting out these scenarios, and the kids often really like that when there's like 2 or 3 of them that can, act one of these out. And maybe you do some on index cards and some acting, so they're not exactly the same scenarios in each situation. I'll have these that they list here as well as some additional ones for you to choose from, and you can make them up as well on the fly to see, and even ask the kids for their ideas of a scenario that they want to act out. Maybe even as you put them into groups to act it out, say come up with a scenario and then act it out, and then ask the other people who are not part of acting it how they would respond with kindness. And again, the story can be read at the beginning or the end. Sometimes the end is a nice kind of calming way to kind of bring the class to a close, but it's totally up to you, again, and dependent on the class and what they're kind of interested in doing. So I will have the materials for all these in the appropriate classrooms. The lesson shouldn't take long to read through and familiarize yourself with. It's a little shorter than the Shine curriculum lessons, but let me know if you have any questions about them. And I'll be here on Sunday, but I'm going to be teaching the Inquirers class, so I'll be in that in the library doing that if you need me. Okay, thanks.